Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our channel right here. I'd really appreciate it, and I promise to update daily. If you like these watches, you can see them and you can purchase them on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing two 40mm, 100-meter water-resistant, red gold Geneva sports watches from the biggest names and the biggest brands in high horology. On the left, Rolex Yacht-Master 116655 Oysterflex. On the right, Patek Philippe Aquanaut 5167R. Let's start with the elder statesman, as the 5167 has been around since 2007, based on the Aquanaut line that bowed in 1997. In its day, it featured Patek Philippe's first factory rubber strap, and the rubber strap remains the iconic accessory. Though bracelets are available, the watch never quite looks perfect on them, whereas the strap appears organic. The timepiece is flat on the wrist, only 8.3 millimeters thick. It sits limpet-like and broad, 47 millimeters lug to lug, 40 millimeters in diameter, like the Rolex, not including the crown or the crown guard. That said, on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, I can't say it fits quite as well as the Rolex, and there's a specific reason for that. The strap is wonderfully integrated. It curves and contours against the side of the case so that there is no daylight, but that also means it's a bit rigid and it will fight the curve of a smaller wrist. Under 15 centimeters circumference, wrists should consider the Rolex on a fit basis. The strap is a brown composite, as Patek calls it. Basically, it's rubber. It's a polymer of some variety, and it has hollows on the underside to vent the wrist as well as remove the material and make it flexible and pliant. You can get a very precise sizing, although it will flare and fight your wrist a bit if you have a very small wrist. You can rest assured that it will sit securely because there are so many cut points built into this rubber strap, you can't help but get it just right. The clasp is substantial. I feel as though the clasp you get on a strap-clad Patek sports watch is more substantial and more impressively made than the clasp in the bracelet of a Nautilus. As you can see, twin trigger release, twin swing arm, and beautifully finished throughout. There's a lot of gold here, and it's put to great use with a secure, handsome, and nicely counterweighted clasp that keeps the watch from flipping over on your wrist. The case has been simplified compared to the Nautilus. It's not quite as complex in its construction, nor does it have quite so many components or facets, but what's there is entirely hand-finished, and because the Aquanaut has always been intended as a bit of a stripped-down, hipper younger brother to the Nautilus, it's good that you can see the family resemblance in the rounded polygon form, but it doesn't feel like a decontented Nautilus so much it feels like an Aquanaut, a watch with its own distinct style and stance. The dial, a geosphere cut, so you have the simulacrum of meridians and parallels of latitude and longitude, but then you also have this brown bronze quality about it. It's shimmering, effervescent, and it is of the quality that fades from a metallic bright luster at the center to more of a black periphery, so there's a dynamism about it as well. All applique rose gold Arabic numerals, rose gold hands at center with the exception of the counterweighted lancet seconds, all of this driven and screw-down crown with crown guards by a Patek Philippe manufacturer, caliber 324. Now this is caliber 324 SC. It's the center second with a calendar. Get a little bit closer, see what I can do to improve the focus of this one, because you can see the movement, and you can see that for which you've paid. It's beautifully executed, circular Cote de Genève, mirrored chamfering, black polished screws, engine turned perlage on the reduction wheel for the winding system at the center of the rotor as well as on the base plate, and it's 3 different sizes of perlage. Silicon hairspring with ceramic rotor bearings, so though this movement is a veteran, it is still kept current by new materials innovations, and in the era of the Patek Philippe seal, adjusted in 6 positions, guaranteed to run no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per day. 35 to 45 hour power reserve. This watch costs $35,500 new, that's US, and it sells pre-owned for about $36,000 to $37,000. So that's an impressive value retention. A little bit of an escalation, in fact, from the point of purchase. Now let's talk about the Rolex Yacht-Master. The Everose 116655 on the Oysterflex bracelet, and it is both properly named Oysterflex and, in fact, a bracelet. That bowed at Baselworld 2015. The Yacht-Master collection was born in 1992 as an upscale cousin to the Submariner, which is why it appropriates much of the look of the sub, and I'm going to focus in on my wrist here, without actually emulating the sub. The first thing you'll note is that the watch is bigger than the Aquanaut. 11.4 versus 8.3 millimeters thick, 48 versus 47 millimeters lug to lug, and though it's the same diameter, the crown guard as well as the crown on this watch are larger. Now here's where the watch pulls a little bit of a Houdini act, because the Oysterflex allows you to pull it straight down. It is well pivoted and clear of the case flanks, so you can actually pull it down around a small wrist. If your wrist is between 15 and about 13.5 centimeters circumference, this is the one of the two today you're going to want to own. The Oysterflex is designed to look like a strap, so it's natural vulcanized rubber clad on the outside and well integrated, almost looks like a Rolex bracelet. You can see the bellows on the underside designed to let the wrist breathe as well as to cinch it down to the wrist and provide a more secure footing, but there is a solid band of nickel titanium that runs through what outwardly appears to be a strap. The clasp is oyster style, which is to say it's like a Rolex sports watch clasp, very substantial, and it features 18 karat Everose red gold, so named because Rolex puts a lot of copper in it to make it red and a lot of platinum in it to prevent it from ever turning yellow, so it will be ever rosy. Inside, 3 anchoring points, so you can move the anchoring point of the strap. Important to note, the Rolex Easy Link system is not incorporated here, so you're going to want to pick the correct length of strap, since it's really a bracelet and you can't cut it to length, and you have those 3 anchoring points to fine-tune once you pick the closest approximation of your size. There's a lot more apparatus inside this clasp than on the Aquanaut. It's more massive, there's more gold, and you can see it's more sophisticated in how it locks shut and keeps itself closed, so it's potentially more secure. The case has a lot in common with the Daytonas, the Datejusts, and the Day-Dates. It looks nothing like the Sub, though similar in size and wrist stance. It's a little bit more curvaceous, a little sexier. The light dances across it in more intriguing ways than the slab sides of the Sub. The bezel rotates and bidirectionally, as this is a yachtsman's aquatic watch, not a diver. Ceramic insert, this was the first Yacht-Master with a ceramic insert on the bezel. All of Rolex Cerachrom, highly scratch resistant. Line it up with the minute hand, you have a wonderful timing instrument, and it surrounds a dial that is a matte black base with rose gold appliques and Rolex's chromolite blue luminescent, some color. You see on the matte black base, red as well as gold, and the Cyclops eye, a dominant feature of the dial. It does make the dial date easier to read, although it also happens to monopolize the dial and will be one of the decision points aesthetically for those choosing between the two. This watch retails for $24,950 US, so a little over $10,000 less than the Patek. Pre-owned, these sell for about $21 to $22, so the price delta increases. Now, let's go over the advantages of each in turn. The Patek, slimmer, 3 millimeters slimmer, more elegant on the wrist, potentially more versatile, as you could wear this one more easily with a business suit and a bathing suit. If status and stature is everything to you, this watch does have a slight leg up on the Rolex. Patek versus Rolex, again, in terms of pure status symbol qualities and value, this watch would be higher on the totem pole. In terms of exclusivity, you will see fewer of these than just about any modern Rolex model, and I should mention that the timepiece has a dial with that effervescence and shimmering glow the Rolex simply can't match. The perceived quality as well as the charm and emotional appeal considerably better on the Patek. Also, potentially better fit if you can wear the watch. If the fight of the strap doesn't dissuade you, you will be able to cut it more precisely to suit your size. The Rolex, there's more gold here. I can feel it. It's heavier. Case, bezel, and clasp. The bracelet, and it is a bracelet, is more substantial and more thoroughly engineered to ensure comfort on the wrist, and a clasp that gives you more gold as well as greater security when closed. The qualitative advantage here is clear. The Rolex has a rotating bezel, which I happen to prefer by a large margin because that gives me many of the qualities of a chronograph or even a light-duty diver, so I can line that up and time something more easily. The date's easier to read. The movement gives you 3 to 13 hours more power reserve, and the movement architecture is far tougher. Rolex gives you a 5-year warranty if you buy this watch new. Patek gives you a 2-year warranty. That's a major decision point, and because of the way you can pull the strap down, the Rolex fits more securely on a small wrist. In terms of mechanical refinement, the instant jump date of the Rolex and the hacking seconds, 2 features which the Patek lacks. I love both of them. The Patek, obviously, with the key advantage of a display case back and a movement worthy of it. But if I had to choose between the two, between the price delta, the solidity of the Rolex, as well as the utility of its bezel and the fit of its strap, bracelet, I'm going to pick the Rolex in this bout. You guys let me know in the comments which of the two you prefer, but the 116655 is my champion du jour. Patek Aquanaut and Rolex Yacht-Master. I'm giving the Rolex the edge for sheer luminescence and legibility, but I'm giving the Patek the edge for a more interesting dial, more intricate, and perhaps a bit more charming. So that's the Lume Shot. You guys let me know, which watch do you pick overall if you're going to spend your own money, or hypothetically, cost no object, which would you prefer in an absolute sense? Let me know in the comments below. Me, I'm a Yacht-Master dude this time.